The context, Bobby, is we'll hear people say this is what he does. This is what Assad does to his own people. Now, we need to know who is responsible for these attacks, but what is this concern?
Well, the concern is that he has chemical weapons still, despite having promised to have gotten rid of all of them. The risk is that he can use them. And now that you have a president in the United States saying we're not interested in changing that regime, he may feel a sense of impunity. He has Russia backing him, he has Iran backing him, and the United States says it doesn't care whether he's in power or not. This is basically giving him license to do what he wants.
Arwa, you've done so much reporting in that region. You've seen all the atrocities up close. And so, you know, it sounds like the Trump administration is sort of changing the doctrine. I mean, that their feeling is whatever you do in your country is your business. We're focused on the United States, and we're not going to try to foist democracy on other far-flung places where we haven't had a great history of that.
Well, and compounded by that is the fact that this is actually happening at two levels. You have, under the Obama administration, for example, the chemical attack that happened in 2013 in Ghouta that everyone thought would actually galvanize the United States, galvanize the international community to do something to bring about an end to the violence. That didn't happen. There has been absolutely no accountability whatsoever when it comes to Syria. Now, with President Trump seemingly taking an even more hands-off approach, saying, you know what, you want to gas your people, you want to do whatever it is, you want to, in other countries, imprison people, you want to silence voices of dissent, you want to torture, we're not going to get involved, we're not even going to bring it up. That's sending a very frightening message, especially to the Middle East at this stage, which can hardly afford a United States that doesn't have a clear policy.
Well, it brings us back to the red line with President Obama and that seemingly escaping into the sand, that there was nothing that Syria could do that was too much. Now, Syria will say, our suggestion is, this isn't us, but from your experience on the ground, how many entities have this kind of capability to attack from above and have them be some type of gas-related ordinance?
Not many. And that is probably why most people are going to say it's Syria. The Russians obviously have air assets, as does the United States and other coalition partners. It just wouldn't make sense for them to carry out this kind of an attack. And this is very much in the pattern of what we have been seeing coming from the Assad regime and from the Russians as well. They will bomb civilian areas, they will bomb hospitals, and they will continue to do it because no one is willing to stop them. Whatever it's going to cost, whatever bargaining chips need to be put on the table to force the Russians and the Syrians to stop killing innocent civilians, no one is willing to put those chips on the table.
I mean, and in fact, the U.S. policy seems to be backing off. We heard Secretary of State Tillerson, as well as Ambassador Nikki Haley, saying the plan is no longer to try to remove Assad. And then we have al-Sisi from Egypt meeting here with the U.S. So human rights violations do not seem to be at the top of the U.S. priority list anymore.
No, I think Donald Trump's point of view is that it hasn't worked in the past, so we're going to try something new. Now, in the field of diplomacy, that's not always a good idea. There's a reason why things move in a certain way, even though it's frustrating and slow.
But they also
unpredictability is not a good thing.
I understand, but they also feel that upsetting the apple cart, such as in, say, Iraq or Libya, also has backfired.
Well, yeah, but, you know, that train's already left the station. The apple cart is upset. The damage control needs to be done, sending the word out to the world that we don't care about human rights, especially when the other major players in the region, Russia and Iran most prominently, plainly don't care about human rights, means that whole discussion is off the table, and that's not a good idea. That's sending a bad message to all the poor people caught in the middle of it who are dying. It's sending a bad message to every bad guy out there who might, you know, be inspired to say, now I can pull this sort of stunt on my own people. If not the United States, then who?
You have the experience of watching what happened before, during, and after the Arab Spring. And that was supposed to be the ultimate manifestation of this, right? Let's inject democracy, let the people decide for themselves. What works in that part of the world in terms of stabilizing humanity?
I think that's the key question. I mean, and we don't know what works because the region has been so unstable for so long. But one thing that doesn't work and has not historically worked is U.S. meddling. America has not been able to figure out how to play the dynamics of the Middle East to push the Middle East towards being a more stable region, nor, quite frankly, have other countries. Some deliberately are wanting to inject instability. When we want to microcosm it, just look at, as the Arab Spring, all of the movements in all of the respective countries started out with a basic, simple desire. We want democracy, we want freedom. And then all the outside actors came in and began using these movements as their own proxy battlefields. And now we have, frankly, this intractable mess that we're in right now.
All right, well, Bobby, thank you very much for sharing all of your expertise and being here in studio with us.
Anytime.
All right, we have to tell you about wild weather back here at home. It has struck the south. Where will these deadly storms go next? We'll let you know.
Oh, how was the open house?
So good.
Did you apply?
Oh, I'll do it later today.
Your credit score must be amazing.
My credit score?
Credit Karma. It's free.
That's great.
It's just whip bam bum. It's done.
That apartment is mine!
Credit Karma. Give yourself some credit.
No, I think you have the wrong house, sir. What you doing? Hey, man, don't do it.
The day after chemo, you could be home with your support system. Here, here, and here with Neulasta Onpro.
Strong chemo can put you at risk for infection. In a key study, Neulasta reduced the risk of infection from 17% to 1%, a 94% decrease. Apply the day of chemo. Neulasta Onpro is designed to automatically deliver Neulasta the next day without returning to the doctor just for a Neulasta shot. Neulasta is for certain cancer patients receiving strong chemotherapy. Do not take Neulasta if you're allergic to Neulasta or Neupogen, filgrastim. Ruptured spleens, sometimes fatal, as well as serious lung problems, allergic reactions, kidney injuries, and capillary leak syndrome have occurred. Report abdominal or shoulder tip pain, trouble breathing, or allergic reactions to your doctor right away. In patients with sickle cell disorders, serious, sometimes fatal crises can occur. The most common side effect is bone and muscle ache.
Talk to your doctor about Neulasta Onpro.
This year, we're in uncharted territory. We're out a lot deeper than normal. It's terrifying.
Deadliest Catch, the 2-hour season premiere, next Tuesday at 9 on Discovery.
Home Advisor is a very easy way to find a home contractor, and for me, it's the only way.
Home Advisor instantly connects you with top-rated pros for any type of home project.
If you need it, Home Advisor has it.
And it's completely free. Go to homeadvisor.com now.
A CNN special event, The Messy Truth, with former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, his very public feud with Trump.
I want to just pray for Arnold for those ratings.
And how he thinks the administration is doing so far. The Messy Truth with Van Jones, tomorrow at 9.
You're probably hearing a lot about the Houston housing market these days, but we want you to know that real estate is healthy and returning to a normal balance of buyers and sellers.
We're proud that in 2015, 1,400 sellers responded to our survey, and 95% of them said they received excellent or good value for the money they invested in us.
Our aggressive marketing, advice, counsel, and our skilled negotiating made a difference to their bottom line.
If you're thinking of selling, call us. We can do the same for you.
It takes a community of love for your child with special needs to live life to the fullest. Introducing Star Kids from Texas Children's Health Plan. A dedicated service coordinator will help you get the right doctors and therapies from our large network. And Texas Children's Health Plan is backed by Texas Children's Hospital. You'll be part of a community devoted to giving your kids the best care so they can shine.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by Sokolov Law. Call 800-891-5400 today.
Mesothelioma victims, call now. $30 billion in trust money has been set aside. You may be entitled to a portion of that money. Call 1-800-891-5400. That's 1-800-891-5400.
I love Beneful Healthy Weight because the first ingredient is chicken.
Man, this chicken is spectacular.
I feel like when he eats Beneful, he turns into a puppy again.
You love it, don't you? You love it so much.
Try Beneful Healthy Weight with chicken. With real chicken as the #1 ingredient.
Your new day weather. Brought to you by Purina. Your pet, our passion.
We have problems. We need to pay attention. The weather has really wreaked a horrible toll. Storms, tornadoes, leaving the trail of death and destruction in the southern U.S. A part of it on your screen right now. At least 5 people killed, including a South Carolina man in his mobile home when powerful winds caused it to flip. Several times. CNN meteorologist Jennifer Gray has your forecast. The most harrowing question is, what happens next?
Well, all of this rain is actually headed up to the northeast. We're not going to see that severe threat like we did in the south, but these were dangerous.